Let me be blunt with you. After a woman loses a good man, she goes through 4 very specific stages of regret. And most men never see it coming because they misread what's happening in each stage. Right now, she might look like she's moved on. She seems fine, maybe even happy. But that's just stage 1. And if you don't understand what's actually happening beneath the surface, you'll misinterpret everything that follows. Stage 2 looks completely different. Stage 3 is where most men give up because they don't recognize the shift. And stage 4, that's where it gets complicated in ways you're not expecting. Here's what you need to understand. These stages follow a specific timeline. They involve predictable patterns you can recognize. And by the time she reaches stage 4, something happens that most men think is a victory. But it's actually more complex than that. I'm going to break down all 4 stages, show you the exact timeline, and reveal what's really happening at each phase. But more importantly, I'll show you what these stages mean for you and what you should be doing with your time while she's going through hers. Before I break down the stages, let me be clear about what this isn't. This isn't about manipulation. This isn't about trying to get her back. This is about understanding a psychological pattern so you can process what happened to you in a healthy way. Because here's the truth. When a good man gets rejected, he often blames himself. He thinks he wasn't enough. But psychology shows us that women go through predictable patterns of regret after losing someone who genuinely cared. Understanding this pattern doesn't change the past, but it does change how you see yourself and your value. So let me break down each stage. I'll show you what's happening at each phase, the timeline involved, and most important, what it all means for you moving forward. Here's why this matters. Even if you never want her back. Because when a good man gets rejected by a woman he cared about, it creates a specific kind of pain. You gave your emotional energy, your time, your consistency. You showed up when it was inconvenient. You were there during her hard moments. And she still chose something else. Maybe she chose excitement over stability. Maybe she chose uncertainty over security. Maybe she just chose to be alone rather than be with you. And that feels like a rejection of everything you are as a man. But here's what's actually happening psychologically. Women are wired to test for strength and pursue uncertainty in the short term. It's an evolutionary mechanism. Seek the unknown. Avoid the predictable. In the moment, your stability felt like boredom. Your consistency felt like weakness. Your emotional availability felt like neediness. So she walked away convinced she made the right choice. And right now, in these early days or weeks, she's probably feeling relief. She's out with friends. She's posting on social media. Maybe she's already seeing someone new. From the outside, it looks like she never cared at all. Like you were completely replaceable. But what she doesn't realize yet is that relief is temporary. The excitement fades. The uncertainty becomes exhausting. And the comparison phase begins. Which brings us to the 4 stages. So let me walk you through what happens. There are 4 distinct stages, and each one reveals something important about her psychology and about your value. Stage 1 is relief and freedom. This happens in the first 2 to 8 weeks after the rejection. She feels liberated. She's convinced she made the right choice. She's out living her life, and from your perspective, it looks like she never cared at all. Stage 2 is comparison creep. Around month 2 to 4, something shifts. The new experiences start disappointing. The new people don't measure up. And she begins comparing, not just behaviors, but you as a whole person. Stage 3 is the realization. Month 4 to 8. This is where comparison turns into regret. She's not just noticing differences anymore. She's feeling the loss. The absence of what you brought to her life becomes real. Stage 4 is deep regret. 8 months and beyond. You become the standard, the one that got away. And this is where most men misunderstand what's actually happening. Stay with me through all 4 stages. What I reveal about stage 4 will change how you see this entire situation. Stage 1 begins immediately after the rejection or breakup. This is relief and freedom, and it typically lasts anywhere from 2 to 8 weeks. And I need you to understand something important. This stage hurts to witness, because from your perspective, it looks like she never cared at all. Here's what's happening. She feels liberated from what she perceived as pressure or expectation. Your consistency, your emotional investment, the way you showed up, in the moment, that felt heavy to her. It felt like obligation. So when she walks away, the immediate feeling is relief. Like she just escaped something confining. And she convinces herself this was the right decision. She tells her friends she's better off. She posts on social media more than usual. She goes out. She might start seeing other people almost immediately. She's seeking validation from external sources. Attention, excitement, novelty. All the things your stable presence didn't provide in that moment. From the outside, watching this happen, it's brutal. You're processing the loss, questioning yourself, wondering what you did wrong. Meanwhile, she seems happier than ever. She looks free. She looks like she upgraded by leaving you behind. But here's the psychological mechanism at play. This is novelty dopamine. It's the brain's reward response to new experiences, new attention, new possibilities. Evolutionarily, humans are wired to seek novelty. It's a survival mechanism. New environments meant new resources. New connections meant new opportunities. So her brain is flooding her with feel-good chemicals because everything is new. The grass is greener cognitive bias is in full effect. She's not comparing accurately. She's comparing your everyday reality, your consistency, your stability, your depth, to the highlight reel of new experiences. And in that comparison, new wins every time. What she doesn't realize yet is that novelty fades. The dopamine spike is temporary. The new guy's attention becomes predictable. The excitement becomes routine. The freedom starts feeling like loneliness. And when that happens, stage 2 begins. But here's what you need to understand about stage 1. Your response matters more than her relief. Stage 2 is comparison creep, and it typically hits around month 2 to 4. The relief of stage 1 is starting to wear off. The novelty is fading. And something subtle starts happening. She begins comparing. It usually starts with small moments. The new guy doesn't text back the way you did. He doesn't remember the little details she mentioned in passing. He's not there when she needs emotional support. He's great for excitement, for fun, for surface-level connection. But when she faces something difficult, when she needs someone solid, the difference becomes obvious. This is the first crack in her decision. But here's what's important to understand. This isn't regret yet. This is awareness. She's noticing differences, but she's not ready to admit she made a mistake. She's still rationalizing. She's still telling herself and her friends that leaving was the right choice. You might notice small shifts if you're still visible in her world. She checks your social media more often. She asks mutual friends about you in casual, indirect ways. If she sees you at an event or runs into you, she pays attention to how you're doing, who you're with, how you seem. She's gathering information without admitting to herself why. Sometimes she'll send soft breadcrumbs, liking an old photo, watching your stories, maybe even a random "how are you" text that seems innocent. These aren't necessarily attempts to reconnect. They're tests. She's checking if you're still available, still interested, still the same person she left behind. The psychological mechanism here is cognitive dissonance. She made a choice. She convinced everyone it was the right choice. But the reality she's experiencing doesn't match the story she told. New guy was supposed to be better. Freedom was supposed to feel amazing. But neither is delivering what she expected. So she starts comparing. Not just behaviors. Comparing your entire presence to what she has now. Your energy, your consistency. The way you made her feel safe even when you challenged her. And the comparison isn't favorable. But admitting that means admitting she was wrong. So stage 2 is uncomfortable awareness without confession. Stage 3 is the realization. And this typically happens between month 4 and 8. This is where comparison stops being uncomfortable and starts being painful. This is where awareness crystallizes into regret. Here's what shifts. In stage 2, she was noticing differences. In stage 3, she's feeling loss. It's not he doesn't do X like you did. It's I don't have you anymore. The focus changes from behaviors to your entire presence, the way you made her feel, the energy you brought, the safety you provided even when things were hard. Something usually triggers this phase. Maybe she goes through a difficult time, loses a job, deals with family issues, faces a personal crisis, and the person she's with now doesn't show up the way you would have. Maybe she reaches a milestone and realizes you're not there to share it with. Maybe it's just accumulated disappointment reaching a critical mass. Whatever the trigger, the result is the same. She realizes she didn't just lose your actions or your attention. She lost your depth, your consistency, the man who actually knew her, who saw past the surface, who stayed when things got real. And that realization hits differently than comparison. This is when she might reach out directly. Not breadcrumbs anymore. Actual attempts to reconnect. A text that references a shared memory. A call to check in. An invitation to meet up. If she's in a new relationship, she might even end it because the comparison has become too painful. She's actively looking for a way back, even if she won't say it directly. The psychology here is loss aversion fully activating. Humans fear loss more than they value equivalent gain. She had you. She gave you up. Now she's experiencing the loss acutely. And the brain's response to loss is powerful. It creates urgency, regret, and the desire to undo the mistake. But here's the critical thing about stage 3. This is where most men give up. They've seen stages 1 and 2. They've watched her be happy without them. Then slowly start comparing. By stage 3, they're exhausted. Maybe healing. Maybe moving on. So when she reaches out, they're not there anymore. And that brings us to stage 4. Stage 4 is deep regret. And this happens 8 months out and beyond. Sometimes it takes a year. Sometimes longer. But when it hits, it's permanent. You don't just become someone she regrets losing. You become the standard by which she measures every man who comes after. The one that got away. Here's what happens in her mind. The relationship becomes idealized. The reasons she left get minimized or rewritten. The flaws that bothered her become quirks she now finds endearing. She tells herself stories about what could have been if she just appreciated what she had. You're no longer the real person with real flaws. You're a romanticized memory. The man she should have chosen. And this is where it gets complex. Because most men think this is the win. They imagine stage 4 as her finally understanding what she threw away. Maybe reaching out. Maybe begging to come back. They see it as validation. As justice. As proof that they were right all along. She made a mistake. And now she's paying for it. But here's what most men don't realize. Stage 4 often comes when you've already moved on. When you've healed. When you've built something new. She reaches this stage on her timeline, not yours. And by the time she's ready to admit the depth of her regret, you might not care anymore. Or she might never reach out at all. She might be in a new relationship. She might be too proud. She might convince herself you've moved on and there's no point. Deep regret can live silently inside someone for years. She can go to her grave thinking about you as the one that got away and never tell you. And even if she does reach out at stage 4, you have to ask yourself something. Is she reaching out because I'm her best option, or because I'm her only option left? Is this genuine recognition of my value, or is this nostalgia mixed with loneliness? That's the complexity of stage 4. Her regret is real, but what that regret means for you is more complicated than most men think. So let me say something that might be hard to hear, but you need to hear it. Her regret is real. The 4 stages I just walked you through, they're predictable, they're psychological, and yes, she will likely go through them. But waiting for her regret to feel good is a trap that will keep you stuck. Because here's the truth, most men don't want to accept. Her regret doesn't change the past. It doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't guarantee she's actually changed or grown. And it definitely doesn't mean you should be waiting around hoping she realizes what she lost. I know that sounds harsh. I know part of you wants her to feel the full weight of losing you. That's human. That's natural. But think about it. If she came back tomorrow at stage 4, having gone through all the regret, would the dynamic that caused the breakup have changed? Would she suddenly appreciate stability when she's wired to chase uncertainty? Would you trust her not to leave again the next time novelty looks appealing? Her regret validates that you were valuable, that you were a good man, that what you offered mattered. But here's what's more important than her regret, what you're building now. The good man she regrets losing should become an even better man. Not for her. For you. Her regret is the period at the end of that chapter. Your growth is the first sentence of the next one. I want to hear from you. Where are you in this process right now? Did you just go through a rejection? Are you watching her go through stage 1, seeing her look happy without you? Did she reach out during stage 2 or 3, and you're not sure how to respond? Or are you already on the other side of this, having built something new? Leave a comment and let me know. I read every single one. Your story matters. And honestly, your experience helps other men who are going through the exact same thing right now. That's what this community is about. Because here's what I want you to understand. This channel isn't about getting her back. It's not about revenge or making her regret. It's about building men who women regret losing but who don't need that regret to define their worth. You're here because you were a good man who got rejected by someone who didn't appreciate what they had. That hurt. That's valid. But you get to choose what happens next. You can wait for her to reach stage 4 and hope that validates you. Or you can take everything I just taught you, this framework, this understanding, and use it to build a life so strong that her regret becomes irrelevant. Her regret is the period at the end of that chapter. Your next chapter, the man you're becoming, that's where the real story begins. Don't let her regret become your ceiling. Let your growth become her reminder of what's possible.